On this episode of Women of AV, we talk with Cheri Parker, project manager for Conference Technologies, talking about NAB, her path through broadcast, and why she got her PMP. All that and more. Next on Women of AV.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Atlas IED, innovative audio solutions for every business environment.
This is Tim Albright with Women of AV, celebrating the women in our industry. This kind of started in March with International Women's Day. Got so much response and quite frankly, got a lot of folks saying, hey, you should talk to this person, you should talk to this person, that person. We kind of figured, you know what, let's just make it an entirely brand new podcast. So that's what we're doing. With me today is Cheri Parker. Cheri is a project manager for my company, for our company, Conference Technologies, CTI. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, Cheri, you and I actually connected. We were doing in the marketing side of what I do, you were doing a project and a case study that we're doing up in Philadelphia. CTI purchased a company called CTG, who you had also worked for. CTG, a fantastic firm down in Atlanta. Now it's a branch of CTI. Let's talk for a second about how you got involved in the industry, in the AV industry, and kind of what led you, where you are now.
Sure. I actually started in broadcasting. I went to college for mass communications. I started working in local news in Tampa, specifically in the studio and in the control room. That then led me to working for a manufacturer, and I became a product specialist. We were rolling out the manufacturer's workflow for news station groups, and I kind of ventured into the project management role there. Working with the manufacturer and their clients, I was introduced to systems integrators and got to understand a little bit about what system integrators did for both the news and sports realm. I had an opportunity to get my project management certification, my PMP, and I started looking for roles with systems integrators. And that led me to working with CTG in Atlanta. And that's how I was introduced to the AV industry, working on both broadcast projects and AV projects.
Help me understand something, because first of all, I do not have a brain for project management. Anybody who's ever worked with me will tell you that, right? I appreciate you folks. I admire you. I'm somewhat jealous, right? Because I wish I could do this stuff. But walk me through going from a broadcast, right? The broadcast side and the technical part of the broadcast side. Where does that jump go? Where is that bridge to go from that to wanting to get your PMP?
I like to make sure that I'm comfortable in situations. And for me, I like to know as much as possible about whatever it is that I'm doing. So for project management, and wanting to be seen in the project management world, I wanted to make sure that I had that certification that kind of validated me in the project management world. So for me, that was a big thing, knowing that I'm going from working in the broadcasting field, specifically with news, and opening that up to broadcast projects that could be in the sports realm. I wanted to show that I had the structure with project management and that I could take any project forward, and learning the technology and all of the specifics about the projects, I knew that would come over time. So that was a big thing for me to get that PMP certification, is just for me personally, to feel like I had the knowledge that I needed to successfully do my job.
Well, and as someone who also worked in a newsroom for a number of years, those two environments are oddly the same, because they are high pressure. There are deadlines. No, seriously, I'm not kidding.
Yes,
You've got markers, right? I worked for CBS in St. Louis, and at the top of every hour, a dong goes off. And anybody who grew up in St. Louis knows exactly what I'm talking about at KMOX. A dong goes off, and then suddenly you've got to hit the national news. those two environments are actually oddly similar. So that actually makes a whole
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
Uh, Talk for a second about you mentioned the fact that this gives you confidence, but also gives you, quite frankly, it gives you, letters behind your name, which for some folks and in some environments gives you an air of authority, gives you some authority, right? We've talked about this a lot on this specific show and in these specific interviews, where being a woman in the industry, being a woman in the technology field, a lot of times you are discounted, right?
Mm.
You walk into a room and you are, and I'm just overarching broad strokes here. You are someone's secretary. You can go get coffee, stuff like this. And I'm not. This is things that I said, things that have been said to me, right?
Sure.
Something like a PMP does help with that a little bit, right? What other
Absolutely.
what other sort of challenges though have you faced being a woman in and walking into environments like this?
Well, for me, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I don't want to be seen as somebody that's just dropping in resources on a calendar and doing that admin paperwork. I really enjoy the technology. I really want to be involved. I want my voice to be heard, and I enjoy problem solving. And so challenges along the way. Obviously, I had challenges of learning what system integration was, and all of the parts that are a part of that, and laying out my new formulated knowledge of project management and what that was and how I was to step through these systems integrations. Those were big challenges for me, and to be in a world where there are very few women present, on job sites or even in offices at times, and wanting to stand out and to make an impact on the project, and have the respect of the people around me. That was a big thing that I wanted to overcome.
That makes a lot of sense. So when you make that decision, right? Then how do you do that, right? Is that just consistency? Is it showing up every day and proving some of these folks that still have some of these embedded ideas, embedded prejudices, just showing them, look, that this is, I can do this? Or is it something a little bit more, not subversive, but, more subtle?
I think it's a little bit of needing to prove myself over time. I know that I was new to this industry, especially the AV industry. I'm still learning so many things about the AV industry currently. But being able to gain the trust and respect of my coworkers, and to have that trust with the client, to show them that I'm fully invested, that I'm willing to learn, that I know that I make mistakes, but how fast can I rebound from them and how fast can I problem solve. I think those are the things that helped me prove myself to my coworkers and to clients, to help meet any challenges that I was facing along the way.
Yeah. I've asked this question and it gotten different answers. But in talking with some other friends, and I do a whole lot of I just listen and let them talk. One of the comments they said is you have a choice to overcome prejudice. You have a choice to overcome some of these challenges. So the question that came out of that is, why did you choose? Right? You certainly could have chosen a different path, the path of least resistance, right? The path of not even worrying about some knucklehead that sees you differently. But why did you choose that? Right? Why did you choose to overcome some of those issues?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you always have the easy out. You could just turn around and walk away, right?
Yeah.
Um, I've been in broadcasting for 17 or 18 years now. So there is a passion for the broadcast industry, which is now, trickled over into the AV industry. I love technology. I love helping clients, and walking them through projects or explaining technology, at least from what I understand of technology, to the end users, to help them get through their projects. So being in this industry meant a lot to me, and I think that helped drive me getting through those challenges. Like I mentioned, some of the technology was completely over my head, and so in those beginning days, just those were super stressful. And I knew what my strengths were. I knew that project management and the structure that I've built for myself with project management, I knew that was a strength, and I understood my weaknesses, and I told my colleagues around me and the resources that I had, I let them know that so that they could help fill in those gaps for me. And that was a huge confidence booster, knowing that I had the support of the engineers around me, knowing that I had the support of the management staff around me um, to help with that stuff. So um, really just having a love for the industry and working with the clients helped me overcome any of those challenges and to push through and not quit. And it's very few times that I quit on things. I like the challenge.
Yeah. When you end your career many years from now and you look back, what do you want to see have changed in the industry?
You know, you come across more and more women in the industry, which is great to see. You know, I've attended NAB for many years now, the National Association of Broadcasters convention in Vegas. And it's so exciting to meet the people there and to see all of the women that are showing up to those events and working with future clients. More recently, I believe it was the last NAB that I attended, I had a coworker who's also a friend of mine um, invite me to an SVGW networking group that was being held at NAB. And so that was my first chance to meet all of these women that are in this field and how they're in the part of this networking group. And so, you know, to answer your question, I would love to continue to see the increase of number of women working, you know, in the industry, being a part of these networking groups, and have them share their stories and their frustrations and their successes, and how they've overcome all of their challenges to help, you know, future generations along.
So how do you, Cheri Parker, impact that? How do you affect that? How do you help make it happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. How do I be a part of that? You know, I plan to continue to be a part of those networking groups and begin to volunteer and contribute in that kind of a way. Not only just in like the broadcasting or AV industry, but also in other types of communities, you know, the project management world and being involved in any of those women networking groups. And so I hope that moving forward, that not only with NAB and encouraging other women to join me at those types of networking groups, but also even just like friends and people in my community, invite those to those types of events and just kind of return the favor as someone once did for me.
Very cool. Really quickly before I'll let you get out of here, if you were talking to someone who is just going into college, right? We're recording this in July. There's a lot of folks that are getting ready to and packing up and going off to some, you know, university, or, you know, the last year has been rather tumultuous for some folks and upheavals. Looking at other opportunities, looking at other careers, what would you tell them about whether it's broadcasting, AV, or even, you know, project management in general? Why should they consider a career in this industry?
For me, I love the technology. I've always been into little knickknacks and technical things that pop up here and there. So if you have a love for technology, if you have a love for organizing and being on the project management side where you get to dabble in and experience some of that technology, it's just a really interesting and fascinating field and industry to be a part of. And there's so many different directions that you can go in, not necessarily systems integration, but there's so many different avenues that you can tap into in this type of a technical industry. And it's always changing. And that's what I like about it, is that there's always something new and new ways to problem solve, and it's never the same thing twice.
I like that. That'll be a good place to stop. Cheri Parker from Conference Technologies, thank you so much. How do people connect with you if they want to?
Sure, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can also email me at cparker@conferencetech.com.
All right, very good. Cheri Parker from Conference Technologies. For us, for AVNation, go by our website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. You'll find this program and a host of others. All that and more at AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv.